Good morning, everybody. If you will look on your table, there's a little folding thing that's trying its best to stay up. So
It's laying flat, we all.
there you go. So there are 5 tasks that we are kind of working on during this interim period, and here are the 5 tasks. So this doesn't mean that this group here today, this morning, has to be responsible for all this. But what we're going to be doing is looking at what is on our table. And then in about 10 minutes, we're going to shuffle these and you're going to give yours to another table. And that other table will give it back over here so that you all get a sense of what these 5 topics are, which are heritage, leadership, connections, mission, and future. So we've been working on heritage, telling stories about each other and telling stories about what brought us to the church, what's kept us in the church, which to me, that sets the more fascinating. And I was talking with someone in the office last week, and I said, the one thing that is so miraculous about church is every Sunday, just before the procession starts, and you look around and you think, what things went on in so many houses to get everybody here for church. And that's the thank you, because we all know that that's a decision you make on Saturday night. Because if you leave it to Sunday morning, it may or may not have as big a chance as happening. So, does everybody have some idea about what your particular table is going to be working on here? I know some of you all have 2 on your table, but I thought these folks would like it. They've got heritage and future. And so let's look at those for a little bit. If you want, I can read you a little description of each one. Would that help?
Yes.
Heritage. Reviewing how the congregation has been shaped and formed. The congregation's heritage, both corporate and individual, is the foundation upon which the present rests. Paying attention to heritage means encouraging and hearing all of the stories about the congregation's past and embracing the rich variety that makes us this particular congregation. Now, leadership. You all got leadership. Reviewing the membership's needs and its ways of organizing and developing new and effective leadership. Transition time provides opportunity for individuals and the congregational organization to examine the types of leadership needed. New leaders will emerge, while some seasoned leaders may recommit or may decide to refocus their gifts. If you are starting to fill up, why don't we start another table, because that would be great too. Mission, defining and redefining a sense of purpose and a sense of direction. The primary work in this area involves clarifying the faith community's identity and core values, working to develop mission and vision statements, and perhaps even working out short-term tactical plans. Connections. Who has connections? Okay. Discovering all the relationships the faith community builds outside of itself. Sometimes congregational life can be so busy that congregations and their leadership forget to attend to their connections, both to their denomination and to the network of communities around them. Transition is an appropriate time to reassess old links and to consider new ones. In the future, back to the future in the middle here. Developing congregational and pastoral profiles. Focusing on the future requires a healthy and honest assessment of the other focus points so that the congregation can turn its energy towards proactive decision-making for the future. The intentional interim offers the congregation a variety of possibilities on how to engage in these 5. But this is important prep work for what's going to be coming about when we start doing the actual profile in the search committee. If I can invite you all to come on into a table, we'd love to hear your voices and such. So you all can even start a new table, which would be wonderful if you want to. So whatever works best. Okay, let's take the next 5 minutes or so and look at your little card in the front. Now that you've heard some corporate definitions, see what that looks like here, though, at St. Louis. Okay. You know what? Well, probably we come to today. I love your session. I know it is work. Session. So. Okay. It's probably going to take some more than 6 months. Well, I can't undo today. I understand that, but this, we do that, we cut off. So let's see how we do towards the end of the session. I promise. So I would rather you have a session where people talk about discussion. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Right. So, well, can't promise for today, okay? But thank you. That's all right. That's great. You guys make a copy of this. That would be awesome. You can do both. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. The guys are down and I used to say that. It's always here.
Okay, we're gonna ask each table to wrap it up in about 2 minutes and figure out who your reporter is gonna be. The person from your table that can talk about it.
She's a
You got this little screw? Okay. Hello, we're gonna ask the table in the corner here. You all will get to be the first presenters. So have you decided who your voice is gonna be for your table?
We're the first table over.
You're the first table.
Ours is mission, and we talked about our church mission statement about being Christ to the world, and what's the first one? The community of Christ and Christ to the world, and we think that's a great mission statement and says who we are. We want to kind of that idea. We talked about how our church in the past has had a focus on local mission as well as international mission, which of course led to hundreds of words, which is our the international mission that we've been supporting, and Dennis and I just got back from others 2 weeks ago. So we talked about that. Talked about what happened during COVID. Couldn't do as much mission. We still were able to keep the mission going. We kept the international connections going, kept the local connections going. Kids still had experience here locally when they couldn't do the mission trip. So we think mission is important for outreach.
Thank you all, you did a good job. How about you all in the middle? Why don't you decide, you've got two to cover, two topics.
Well, I don't know if we really got into those topics, but they kind of feed off on each other. We concentrated mostly about future leadership, we concentrated mostly on future. And I don't know if we came up with anything to say, but basically came to the conclusion that, we've had many semi-failed attempts at trying to, okay, we all know what we want for the future. The underlying issue is we want to grow the church, not just the same things, but
Great.
and how do we do that? And in the past, we've had some good ideas, but it's just a matter of making them happen. And I think that's part of the challenge is coming up with this ideas of how do we reach the groups of people that are probably not being encouraged or readily excited or attracted to being in church here. And a lot of that is not just anything the great children's program. We have a pretty big youth program. Strengthen the youth program and somehow expand that to the young adult community. That's where we lose a lot of that transition. We're starting to get, some young families here, which is great. If we somehow focus on that, but just bridge that gap. There's going to be more continuity from that. Your blood, better ideas, with time, and eventually hopefully expand with that. And the question of leadership, a lot of leadership, we obviously have the established church leadership, but with some of these potential ideas that we want to work on, a lot of most of the battle is how do we implement these ideas and how to get people motivated, not just the existing members, because the existing members end up doing everything, but getting the new blood involved and invested in them now becoming part of the leadership. So the leadership roles will change depending on how we project the future of the church will change. And I think, that's going to be an ongoing thing. So that's really all we came up with. So like I said, not really solutions, just kind of reaction.
But you all were thinking of, thank you. Good wrap up though. How about y'all in the corner?
It's a really good conversation.
Why don't you identify which group you all are?
Over this, heritage. We had some good conversation. Part of it was reflective of how we handle the way we've always done it. And the outcome of that part was that even though there's a way we've always done it, we've been flexible. When change comes, which is part of the effective heritage on the changes that have been made. We've remained a welcoming community, accepting. We've grown in welcoming and accepting over the changes because we've learned that even though we have long-term rectors, we won't always have somebody for 15 or 21 or 26 years. And all of this has made clear to us, the reason stuff has made it clear to us that we have relationships in the body of Christ that we are, that have sustained what we've been challenged. So that was a big one. And that recognizing the relationships, the small groups within our large group has helped us build community and recognize that we have a sense of community. And I think that's okay.
Very good. Well, thank you all. I'm going to ask you now to pass your sheet. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on.
That's okay. I'm sorry. And ask me to speak, so first of all, I'm gonna say the connection really was great around this table, okay? This lady is a former member, and she's still a member of St. Louis. She moved to Santa Fe, and she's visiting here, and she has many friends and connections here already, okay? And then Carol, she is, I moved here from Salado.
Oh.
And she's got all these connections. Of course, Jan and Carol are in here, coming in the door, going out the door, back again, all the time. But the big thing is we discovered a jewel today. I had no idea. Carol's family in Austin bought a 100-year-old house, the Sullivan House. The famous Sullivan House, that wonderful charity. And they're very well connected with that. And of course, she does a bunch of things here, just with Jan, but I thought that was so fascinating. We need to know more about that because that's our major charity in Austin, Texas. So.
What a great connection
Yes.
on all your parts. Job well done.
You're all very interconnected because
she lived in Salado, but your cousin lived in Salado.
right.
Those 3 degrees of connection.
6 degrees of separation.
Right. Why don't you pass your sheet to a different table? Now think about this new one, this new focus point that you have. Think about it. And not so much as what the other group just saw in it, but what your group sees in it. Because it may look completely different to your group than it does to another group. So don't worry, well, they said this about this. This is just for your table. Why don't we try and wrap it up in 2 or 3 minutes at each table here? And think about who your representative will be. Okay, let's. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. You get to be first now. Exactly, exactly. Good attitude. Go for it.
Okay, ours is here. And if the new people are not familiar with this book,
You all, let's all listen to the person that's talking.
it's hard to take it up. Sorry. No, I'm already. Here it is, this thing. Is everybody familiar with this? Yes. Okay, if you're not, this is from the library, and this is obviously the history of St. Louis, for 50 years. So I think we've got, and I commented that those of you who were at early service are you can't take it with you. The only thing you believe is your stories of your past. You can't, you may have a few possessions that your family may want to have, but it's really just your story and your past is what the only thing you can pass on to the future. And to me, that's the heritage. And of course, we all have history, good, bad, and different. So that's my take on my heritage.
Thank you very much. How about you all straight behind? How'd you make out?
So,
Why don't you say what the title is?
so we have connections, and the first thing we talked about. Okay, I guess I'll talk about that. So what I added on at the end was, when I was a senior here, our youth person that was in charge of us, her name is Kelsey. And she worked really hard making sure that all the kids who were going on to the different colleges had a connection with the Episcopal church that was in that area. She worked really hard to make sure we all knew, like, hey, this is the group, this is when they meet, or hey, we don't have a meeting time, or they're going to reset it, but this is the information you need to like get a hold of that person. And I've gotten a hold of them already. Here you go. So luckily, the Episcopal church at my school is like right across the street, so I can just walk there. So that really helped make it so I can go. But it was just such a great connection to already have that like in, and I think I would have been more hesitant to go if I wasn't already like kind of nudged in that direction of being able to go. Since I started there as a freshman, COVID happened. The person who's in charge of it, she got promoted within the diocese. She's no longer in charge of it. And when we got our new rector at that church, is when I showed up there, still searching for a rector. I'm at least at this point. When he came on, he's Father Carl. He took our group in this last year, and we started off with just like a couple of us, and it grew to now we have at least like 10 people consistently there. And I've actually been asked for this next year that I'm going to be that group's president, and I'm also a part of a Christian sorority at my school. It's not pandemic or anything, and I really enjoy it. I'm now going to be a group leader and the worship team. So that's, and I'm also on the prayer team for readiness. That's that are going to happen for it. So I'll help pray over it. So
How can St. Luke's as a congregation support
I was like
in college?
when you kind of like get older within the church. I also came in when I was like 8th grade. So it was like once you got older, it's kind of like we're going to just kind of put you to like work here, and then you graduate. Okay, bye. And never. So yeah. So there's. I actually don't know. So I can't really speak on that. We also have hurricane that came halfway through, so I got cut off short there. That's anything that can help with like getting on to college, or like when like you come back something, so maybe bring us back when we are doing something. There kind of just like, hey, we're here for you and everything. Okay, our homes. Bye.
Or even to get in the mail, having a bum day, you come back to your room and there's a text message or email or a card from somebody from church. It says, hey, just want you to know we're thinking about you.
Well, it was great when when we were recognizing the acolytes. Kim also recognized what she calls the alumni.
Which is great, yeah.
And that was really nice.
You're doing a great job. Thank you.
I would say if it wasn't for Kelsey making that connection for her, and Kelsey probably,
That little push.
yeah, Kelsey probably didn't realize what domino effect it would have. So.
And we have connections because of the high school missionaries. The kids go on, they go and then come back with what they've learned about connecting with people they never knew, and speak a different language and all that kind of stuff. And then we also have connections through the disaster relief guys that have built almost a community, have built a community so that we hear about them. So then they bring back the stories of what it was like to treat the disaster,
Right.
but also the connections they built with people over the years. And the hurricanes tend to hit the same places, so.
Just the meters. The RV park we service, we can't do everything that. Absolutely, but the needs of them is still great. Our church is not the only one that supports that. But we do, we can, we do other things. It's actually, never even do that we get something with the colleges. That's pretty amazing. That we started to do all these things. We've got a lot of things that people do outside of church.
No, you all did a good job with that. Thank you. Good table. Thanks for your work. How about y'all in the middle? What's the name of your, why don't you just, what's mission? I thought this was connection.
We discussed the mission and they kind of expanded on the mission statement that often said that the church's mission statement that we have up there is really a great mission statement. However, it's not just a mission statement for the church. That's a mission statement for us individuals. The best way to do mission is to lead a good Christian life, so that when you're dealing with other people, they see Christ in you. And then eventually they'll say, gee, I like that. I'd like to have some of that. They're asking for you then now to feed them through their Christian stuff, as opposed to just walking up to somebody and saying, trying to compliment you being a Christian.
Did you all have two on your table or just one now? You're down to one? Thank you all. Then the far reaches.
Yeah, so we have leadership and future, and we talked about the leadership in this church. It's mostly vestry. We talked about how felt that we had a good broad cross section of people on vestry, which is very important for both getting experience, leadership, as well as developing newer people or younger people in leadership, and also having people who are familiar with a lot of different aspects of the church and the demographics of the church, and helping, and then kind of segue that into future, which is then looking at where do we go in the future and how we grow the church, and really being able to focus on the different things that we need, the different programs and different people involved in order to grow the church and become attractive to a wide range of people here. We talked some about how we do that and how we market ourselves, if you will, and a little bit about social media and things like that, and what are effective ways to get across our message to those outside of our church, and show them that with our church, the liturgical nature of our church versus some of the large non-denominational churches, which are different but there should be plenty of people who are interested in the more liturgical church, a little bit smaller ones, and very big non-denominational churches. That's what I'm talking about.
Great. Good job. Why don't you all find 2 volunteers at each table that are going to get up and move somewhere else? Each table needs 2 people to volunteer just to get up and move to another table.
I know.
Okay, now that you've all moved and you've gotten settled, I want you to pick out one point that was discussed this morning that really spoke to you and touched you personally. And share it with your table. And you all are gonna have about 5 minutes.
So when I started college, I was on the side campus. And there was a street like walks off.
It's obvious.
So
Let's see if we can wrap it up in 2 minutes. When you all wrap it up, see if there's one example, it was one gem that was sort of shining out of your table. Okay. What's that gem from your table? What's that one gem I asked you from your table? Okay,
That's easy.
go for it.
We are all noticing and inspired by all of the mission focus that St. Luke's has had over the years.
Excellent. Good point. And it has carried through. Yes.
We all talked about how, said about the individual mission and taking the Lord's word out into the world. There we go. Because not everyone's always going to be here. Kids go off to college, families move. We're gonna leave this place up. Most people are gonna leave this place at one point or another, so it's important to take it out with us wherever we go.
Excellent. How about you all in the middle? You all in the middle table? I'm sorry.
So we talked about the importance of being welcoming people, and we already do a good job of that. So people said that when they first came to this church, they felt very welcome, and we just continue to do that.
Okay. And you all?
I have to agree on the ripple effect, that no matter how big or small, what you do, you don't have an idea, long term, what that effect has. Talk about Kelsey and Maria did an organized that whole thing, and that had a big ripple effect on it. We got other people to do other things, the outreach academy times. And it's like the idea of not knowing the little thing that we do, how it affects someone who years down the road.
Good point. Very nice. You're so true. Well, thank you all for being here. And for those of you who are getting ready to go to church at 10:15, I think you still got enough time to catch your breath a little before service starts. Those of you that were here at 8 o'clock at early church, thank you for staying and for being here. Because this is the way we get to hear from both services, and you all get to talk to each other too. So thank you for being here. Everyone have a great week.
We can't find Lego.
Lego electionary land is missing. Lego electionary. You got it.
You're strong.
Just somewhere over here, yeah.
What do you think on the